So I'm going to show you how to cook some beautiful wild duck. Got a little teal here. Most important thing with duck is that it's still got the skin. So make sure to pluck your ducks, or whoever's hunting them, make sure to leave the skin on. The biggest problem with having duck that's tough or not tender is going to be because they don't take the time to pluck the ducks. Leave the tenderloin on too. That's a really good part. Season them with a little salt and pepper. I got my pan ripping hot, ready to go. I'll turn it down to about medium high. Press it down. Now, if your duck breasts are really big, you can probably just cook them in the oven too for a little bit. You could probably put this guy, you can put him in the oven for 5 minutes once you get a nice hard sear on him. And then take them out. I'm just going to do this guy on top of the stove for you, nice and quick. Nice and slow is the way to go. So once we get a nice sear, we can still give it a little bit more. Also, make sure that you get your meat to room temperature before you're searing it. That makes a huge difference because the meat is going to cook faster. And you can see now our little duck breast has given up a lot of really delicious duck fat. So if you wanted, you could do just a little one-pan meal. You could just throw some potatoes in there, or throw a couple pieces of broccoli in there, and then throw that in the oven and cook it for a minute with him. Okay, we're getting a nice sear on him. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to baste the duck. I'm going to baste this breast until it is warmed through, and I'm just going to keep cooking it on that skin side. How I'm going to baste the breast, hold on, I got to get a little herb real quick. How I baste the breast, I'll take a little herb, I'll add some butter, just about a nice tablespoon and a half, and now's where the magic happens. I'm just going to keep cooking them slowly. And you can see how basting it with that fat just gently cooks it. Super nice and gentle. You want to make sure that you do cook the tenderloin. You want to make sure that's done. If you don't cook that through, it'll have a little, there's a little piece of sinew. So just hit it with the butter a couple times and just make sure it gets cooked. And you can see how the fat just cooks the meat before your eyes as you baste it. Now obviously I'm giving this one little breast a lot of attention, and if you were cooking more breasts it would be a little bit more difficult to do something like this, but I want to show you how it's done perfectly. And typically I would probably throw the ducks in the oven for a minute, but if you have these wild ones, probably just do them on the stove. But I got my thermometer here. I'm going to check and see what the temp's at. I'll stick it in the middle of the breast. It's getting warm. It's about body temperature, but I want it so it just feels a little bit warmer, a little bit warm when I put it in my mouth. So we'll keep basting until this guy's done here. So I've talked about this technique a couple times. This is the arrosé technique, and that just basically means to water the lawn in French. And it just is a gentle way of finishing something in a pan by using butter. Okay, the meat in the very center is warm. I just stuck my paper clip on a wine cork in it, right into the center, and then put it on my lip. I am going to give them like 30 more seconds. And if you're just doing this guy on the stove top, you can probably keep the heat around medium. But by only cooking the duck on one side, you can turn them over and kiss them, and you probably should, to make sure that that tenderloin is cooked through. But you can see just what kind of a beautiful sear you can get. And if you feel that, I mean, the skin is just like rock hard. Super, super crispy. But I'm just gonna kind of kiss him for a minute on the other side, just to cook that tenderloin through. Now, one last time, I'll take the temp. And it just is a little bit warmer than body temperature. That's all you want. So now, it's ready to eat after it sits for, I don't know, about 3-4 minutes. This guy should be ready. And you'll be able to see that it'll give off some pink juice. And as it gives off the juice, that lets you know that the meat is resting and it's ready to carve. And it will also continue cooking for a little bit too. So that is how to cook a wild duck breast.